Welcome to episode 109, Stephen Schwarzman, Private Equity King of the World. This is an outline of episode 109. There are three reasons why we study Stephen Schwarzman. First, he's the king of private equity in the world. Second, he's the co-founder and CEO of Blackstone. Third, Blackstone has asset under management of $300 billion. Let us meet Stephen Schwarzman.
If you assemble people who are 10s on a scale of 10, they can build some of the greatest businesses in the world, which we've been lucky enough to do. At Blackstone itself, sort of the parent company, we're continuing to expand our assets under management, which is one way of measuring things, has been growing at 25, 26, 27% a year. So
Stephen Schwarzman was born in 1947 in Philadelphia. His father ran a curtain store, and his father is a graduate of Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. Here's a picture of Schwarzman in high school. In 1969, he graduated from Yale University with a degree in cultural anthropology. In 1972, he graduated MBA from Harvard University. Then he began working at Lehman Brothers. In 1978, at the age of 31, he became managing director. He did his first LBO by selling Tropicana orange juice.
And I got very lucky on one large project, and I was working as an associate someplace in Chicago, and I got a phone call on a Friday night from the head of a company that I had met once called Tropicana, which in the United States is an orange juice. He wanted me to represent them on the sale. I had to be at the company at 7:30, and they gave me three different structures. It ended up being the second biggest deal in the world, and I was just alone. And I was scared out of my mind because there's legal liability. I also was like making it up, and it was also a consumer product that everybody in America knew. So if you messed it up, they'd all know that too. I'd never been to a board meeting before. We got the thing done somehow, and as I say, it was the second biggest deal in the world, and I wasn't a partner. I was just sort of a worker.
In 1984, he sold Lehman Brothers to Schwarzman, which was owned by American Express at the time.
Did you think of?
Well, it became easier. Pete was thrown out, so he left in '84, and then the firm. And it's a good lesson to everybody. Had a control problem, and there was some stuff going on that was not according to risk tolerances, and the firm was basically busted. And so I sold the firm over the weekend to my next door neighbor, who was in charge of a firm called Schwarzman.
You sold Lehman to Schwarzman.
Yeah, and that was owned by American Express. So that was an across the driveway deal. It was a really traumatic thing for a company that was 150 years old. Just to we would have opened, and there would have been no net worth, right? If on a mark-to-market basis. So the question was, could you keep that secret for a day or two and get a deal done? So it was a ridiculous outcome for a great
So you
business.
left the firm then?
So no, I left a year later, and we started Blackstone.
In 1985, he co-founded Blackstone with Peter Peterson. Peterson was 21 years older than Schwarzman, who was 38 years old then.
Well, I'm a son of poor Greek immigrants. Came over here at the age of 17, not a word of English, a few pennies in their pocket. You've got to be able to tolerate failure because you're doing things no one has done before, in our case, and you're going to fail. But you can't have high rewards and no risks in life. So you've got to be willing to tolerate, take a long time, make some mistakes, and not be worried about making mistakes.
How did you get the name Blackstone and how much was invested?
And where did the name Blackstone come from?
My ex-father-in-law, who was a Talmudic scholar, he said, well, look, why don't you take, the German of your last name, Schwarzman, German means black, and your partner's Greek, and Petros means rock or stone. And his original name was Petropoulos, not his father's. And he said, just put them together.
Got the name, and how much money did you have to capitalize the firm?
$200,000 from me, $200,000 from Peter.
400,000.
Yeah.
It took Schwarzman 500 rejections to raise $850 million. In 1991, Blackstone hired Jonathan Gray straight out of Wharton University of Pennsylvania.
I would say that, if you think about our business, we manage large pools of capital, primarily for public pension funds, and our job is to deliver great returns for them. And the question, really the pivotal thing in our business was in the early 2000s when we started buying larger public companies along the lines of the transaction we did together. We stumbled on this idea that we could buy better quality real estate, we could do it in scale.
There is no real estate Blackstone doesn't touch. Landmark offices, apartment buildings, single-family rental homes, medical buildings, student housing, hotels. Now, as part of GE's house cleaning, Blackstone adds $14 billion more.
The global head of real estate for Blackstone Group, which is the world's largest private equity manager. Blackstone's real estate business has $94 billion under management.
After its $26 billion leveraged buyout of Hilton Worldwide in 2007, it took the company public again late last year.
The nature of our business, we have to sell. We have closed-end funds. We say our models, buy it, fix it, sell it.
Blackstone is now the nation's largest landlord in the single-family rental market.
At the peak, we were as much as $150 million a week.
In 2007, Blackstone went IPO. It was the largest IPO of the year and the second largest IPO since Google. China invested $3 billion. In 2016, the Schwarzman College at Tsinghua University was launched as an alternative to the Rhodes Scholars. What have I learned today? 3 self-made billionaires from Blackstone: Peter Peterson, Stephen Schwarzman, and Jonathan Gray. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave your comments and questions below. My next video will be 9 lessons of Stephen Schwarzman. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.